right then. In that case, thank you anyone who's watching. You are currently watching The Shade's Tale, an Ironclaw 2nd Edition actual play game. We're going to go around and introduce everyone, starting with Theta.
Yes, I am Harmon, a donkey mule soldier. Personalized relentless. My motto is I am stronger. My current goals are send a message to the Syndicate and deal with Rodolfo. I don't know if we have any others, but that's all I've got.
Okay. I believe that sounds right goal-wise, so let's go over to Arcloyd next. Tell us about your character.
Hello, I am Mark Lloyd. I play Connor Levere de Equitavis, the brazen raccoon knight errant, whose motto is one hand washes the other, and he has the 2 goals of send a message to the Syndicate and deal with Rodolfo.
Okay, next up we've got Griffin.
Hey everybody, I'm playing the Anonymous Doctor, the Armadillo Almoner. His motto is first do no harm, second get paid.
All right, and then we've got Rafferty. Rafferty, are you with us?
I'm here, yes.
There you
Hello,
are.
world. I'm Rafferty. Today I'm playing Anushka, the Microbat Messenger, where my motto is know no fear, serve with joy. And I also have the same goals as everyone else. And I'd like to actually upgrade my character, if that's all right.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Okay. I would like to, I have several gifts I would like to retrain, as when you have a gift that you no longer want to use, you can try to retrain it and get 5 experience points.
Yep.
And so I'm going to retrain Insider with the Averdepot military.
Okay.
And local knowledge of harmony. Give me 10 experience points.
Nice. All right.
And I'd like to spend that on Resolve, the gift of using your will to resist having the crap beaten out of you.
Very good.
Highly necessary thing these days.
As I have been. And then I would like to spend 5 of my precious experience points and also trade in the Insider with Philibert's Bandits, which I don't need.
All right.
And it was funny you guys were just talking about this. And I'd like to buy increased trait will.
There you go.
Hey.
What does not kill me makes me stronger.
So now you're up to a D8 and you can use it to soak.
Nice.
And I've learned to work through the pain because I'm injured. I'm always injured. So, but
Haven't had a lot of downtime on this particular adventure.
well,
I don't
even
think you're
with the
injured
downtime,
currently.
people keep, hurting me.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's all right. This would be like there'd be a short aside here where I, would sit on a cliff or high treetop and stare off into the gloaming, watching the sunrise and reflect upon all the adventures and what happened to poor Gaston and all of the things that have happened to me in a way that is not a filler arc at all. It does not just pad the word count. But then wistful eyes. I was just having a Mercedes Lackey flashback recently. So you guys all read Mercedes Lackey, right?
No.
Nope.
Wrong crowd, it seems.
Sadly
Did
not.
you run Blue Rose on this channel?
No.
Okay, but yeah, Blue Rose is inspired by those kinds of RPGs, so that's something we should look into. But all right, so that's me.
Okay.
I have seen things, and they have changed. I am different.
Changed by your experiences.
The
Which is
beatings
great.
have changed Anushka.
Yes, they have.
She's become harder for it.
Actually, no, I'm still bouncy. One of my other favorite mottos that isn't mine, which is keep your faith alight, but keep your powder dry.
Yes, I think there's some almoner that says that.
Yeah, but no, my motto is know no fear and serve with joy.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
And we've been doing a good job of that so far, I think. All right, so let's talk a little bit about where we are and what happened last week. So you guys had just gotten yourselves out of a considerable fight with the rat bandits, who you now know were working for a goat named Philibert, who was working for the cognoscenti bat Rodolfo and his cognoscenti lackeys, two of which you have recently splattered across the campsite. So, Philibert, many of his rats were killed or driven off, injured. He tried to make a break for it, and you guys cornered him with some of the avoirdupois reinforcements that you were able to negotiate from the town of Egerberg, where this attack was imminent. But you were able to prevent that, and after a negotiation with this Philibert character, he gladly gave up Rodolfo information about Rodolfo, including that he has kind of a nest egg set up for him in Berger, and that that's the most likely place that you would find him if he still lives. And he also said that you could call on him and his men if you happen to be in these woods in the future. In the Lyore region, he sort of is like the kingpin of this area. And because you agreed not to turn him in, and you shaked on the deal, you were offered Insider with his band. I don't know if anyone kept it. I think a lot of people retrained it, but that is there. So as we pick things up today, unless I'm forgetting anything important that you guys would like to touch on, you are left with a writ from the Lycée Montu family of weasels, stoats, who have given you permission to basically seek out this Rodolfo character in Doloro lands, which you'll recall currently as avoirdupois. Many of you are of avoirdupois, or at least not Doloro natives. Might be tricky to navigate, but at least you have sort of permission from a highborn, a head of a household in this region. And I believe that is everything from where we're picking up. Right?
I think so. I think that covers everything.
All right, then. So, how would you all like to proceed? I forget, did we leave things in the woods, or...
I don't think we went back to town immediately. We kind of cut it after the negotiation.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then, it's up
First
to you
step
guys.
would probably be to go back to town real quick and then reconvene.
All right.
Okay. When you do return to town, the signal guard there, the unit that you brought with you reports in, and they can confirm that everything you said was true. They report actually, that's interesting. I guess, how much of this conversation do they report in terms of you guys making a deal with the bandits? These soldiers, I didn't consider it, but they might not be too keen on this, or they might feel duty bound to report it to their superior. That wouldn't go very well for you. So, how do you guys want to handle that particular situation? I mention it because it would be quite obvious while this was going down that loyalties might be shifting slightly here, as these guys were present for your entire negotiation with the goat.
All right, Connor, you were about to say something?
I was, but then I both thought better of it, then forgot what I was going to say anyway.
Oh, come on, Arkloyd. You can't do the think better of it thing. Give us some of that classic Connor negotiation.
I would if I hadn't forgotten what I was going to say, because I just dismissed it as bad. Sorry.
I don't know. But let's explore this, though. This is interesting. So, I would say during the negotiation, I'm trying to remember. I think Connor was kind of taking point on that, right? I know he's the one who shook on it. These guys are not nobles themselves; they're soldiers. But so I don't think they would have intervened. But I think after Philibert takes off whistling into the woods, one of them is going to approach. There's 4 of them currently, and they're going to say, "Sir, It is shameful for us to let them go. These men have been a scourge on our town for, for years now. Is it right to do this? No disrespect meant, but this doesn't sit well with me, sir.
I do understand. They, out of character, they had been hired to do this by Rodolfo, yes?
Yeah, so, basically, Philibert the Rat gang, led by Philibert the Goat, had been associates, had been paid to do these things by Rodolfo the Bat.
So they had only been hired to do what they were doing. We've dissuaded them from furthering their employ with Rodolfo, so I say, unless they give you any more problems, that we, for this once, let the bygones be bygones. If they happen to renege on the deal, then by all means, call me in and I'll help retaliate.
Okay, I like that, but I do want to roll. Let's get will and negotiation, because that sounds like a negotiation.
All right.
And if you'd like to include your D12 for nobility, you may, because you are definitely outranking them in this scenario.
Well, is nobility not a claimed bonus that I would have to tap to use?
I suppose so. Yeah. In that case, it's up to you whether or not you want to do that.
So I will see if I need it. One success, I might need it.
Well,
I can also give you an assist as well if you like.
Just a suggestion that you not tap anything here, because regardless of what you say to these soldiers, the soldiers can still go and tell the people once we get back. So maybe hold off on those taps until the big guys.
Also, Anonymous, you pointedly cannot help with this because he's asserting authority, and you have none, Dr. Anonymous.
That is a fair point.
Dang, you're right. How could I possibly have title when I don't even have a name? No.
I guess that is the unspoken downside of not having a name.
It's right in there.
It's right in there. Yeah. In a world where names are important, not having a name does have its limitations. So yeah.
I think I'll take that one success.
You'll take the one success. Okay. Well, this seems to be enough to get this horse soldier to shut up. He looks like he's about to say something else, but thinks better of it and gives you kind of a curt nod and will step back into line. When you return back to the town, claiming your victory. I guess to refresh you guys, I'm trying to remember exactly. I believe the mayor of Eggerberg is a raccoon, who did give you his blessing to go and talk to the signal guard. And the signal guard, after a little bit of convincing, did lend you these soldiers. So signal guard is probably where they're going to report to once you get back into town. And they'll say, we will tell them of that we discovered your claims were true, and that you fought well, and that the immediate threat to Eggerberg seems to have been disposed of. The rat bandits scattered. So you have the thanks of the townsfolk here.
He will, of course, bow graciously. Thank you.
All right. If you will excuse us, we will have reports to confer, to debrief to our superiors, and they're going to take off. And let's do a quick roll call here. Just remember, you still have your gang of 3 irregulars, right? Connor, and you also have Potter, so you guys are tracking with 4. I'm not missing anybody, right?
I was going to actually ask. Only because I have ulterior motives. I'm throwing that on the table. Since we've had a combat with the gang involved, don't we usually roll to see how many are sticking around every time they're involved in a combat?
Did we have
Hmm.
anyone flee?
No, none of you guys fled.
I just know last time we had the battle outside of Harmony.
Yeah, those guys took off though. I mean, usually you re-roll the irregulars when there's been like a reason. Like if we go back to the city, some of them might disappear.
Gotcha.
My ulterior motive is always just, hey, maybe we should turn to Femme Rouge.
Right?
I believe I
So
pitched
there's
that
an
all at
option.
the start of last session too.
You want to investigate this syndicate and their evil workings.
And lull Rodolfo into a false sense of security, so he won't see us coming.
Yep. So, but I'm gonna say that these guys, the combat was easy. I don't think either one of them took so much as a scratch in it, and I assume that they're still hanging on for now.
Alternate tact, some of them did return home back in Harmony. Maybe we could get
True.
those guys back.
It's up to you what you guys want to do. Can't tell you. What I can say is that Connor, is that you don't like the way that soldier looked at you after you had your conversation. There was definitely an eye of righteous indignation, or a gleam of righteous indignation in his eye. And although he's been nothing but official with you, as a good soldier, as a knight of the land should, you can tell it did not sit well with him how things went down with Philibert. And you're not sure what he's going to do about it.
Thinking here, possibly take him to the side, before they leave, if possible.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that you have misgivings about how we handled those bandits. We did technically solve the problem we came to solve. And as I said before, if they cause you any more grief outside of what we have already taken care of, then by all means call upon me and I will come back and help you deal with them then in a more final manner.
He says, "Sir, of course." Yeah, he's
Let's
not.
not look this moment of peace as a thing to be thrown away so lightly. Out of
It's
character, I didn't mean to tell them to start going to like Triskellion and bothering those folks there.
The people that hate us, you mean?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the people that hate two of you?
Yeah. You're talking about Philibert, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I
we'll bring that up. I did tell those rats to go elsewhere as well, so they've left your lands if they have any sense to them. And if they have no sense, then yes, I will be glad to help you get rid of them once and for all.
Yeah, and this guy is very, ramrod straight. He's responding to you as if he's accepting orders, but it all feels quite perfunctory. I think that, Connor, you are being earnest, but I don't think this actually changes the scenario since the last time we rolled, so we're not going to re-roll it.
He might not be feeling these things because of what you did, but because of what you are.
You mean as a noble?
Yeah.
Or a raccoon?
Yeah, as a noble. I'm not saying he's a racist.
He's a classist.
Yeah,
Well,
etrogener or whatever.
He's what I will say is that he's a horse. He's definitely been raised in the Avoirdupois military, and as an Avoirdupois man yourself, you do know that these guys are. There is the notion of chivalry is very important in this particular culture. It does not leave a lot of gray area in certain matters, especially when it comes to the matters of, the law. Bandits will be bandits and should be, captured or put to the sword. But very rarely are you, as the average soldier, negotiating with captured men for information. Usually they're basically saying, like, do you have any last words? And then putting them to the sword. So as a soldier, as an avoirdupois, this guy probably is not he's just not going to be a fan of the tactic. Now, whether or not he does anything with that information, at this point, it's a little bit outside of your control. Unless you want to, take things into your own hands and make it extreme. But yeah, I just mentioned it because I think that at this point, Connor would probably have this, have some apprehension about what's going to happen going forward
Of course.
in the town of Egerberg. And I wanted to make sure that was present. That was above the table and not something that people weren't thinking about, since everybody was there and everyone kind of saw this interaction go down.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely quite a bit worried about what might happen about this. Should be interesting.
Thankfully, the rest of us can wash our hands of it because it was a noble doing the actions. It's supposed to love us.
No power, no responsibility.
Well, my lord, you see, I do have some advice, perhaps. When things tend to get a little rough, or when feelings get ruffled a little bit more than they should be, I have a sure and steadfast solution to it that has always worked for me in the past. You can skip town and forget about it.
I was waiting for you to say, give a little whistle.
And it'll turn out for the best, yeah. So, might I suggest perhaps we go ahead and, leave to a different country entirely?
Well, perhaps your hometown could probably lift your spirits a bit.
Perhaps. Well, we don't want this trail to grow cold, do we?
Unless we do.
Damn, those negotiation skills.
Well, seriously though, if he's not suspecting that we're right on his heels, because you know what he's going to do, right? He's going to go back to his lair in Bruges and set up all these defenses and everything. Maybe hire some people to guard him, whatever. And if we just go home, he's going to waste money and time, and people are going to think, hey, there's nobody after you, guy. And he's going to run out of resources. And then he isn't going to be ill-prepared for when we do strike, because he won't know when. He's going to be high on guard right now.
True, and that will expend his resources. What you say does have merit. Kind of waiting for the rest of you to pipe in, but
I'm imagining that your sleeping pet is actually Potter in the background.
I was waiting for that sentence to come all the way. But yeah, my suggestion is that as long as we are on the trail of Rodolfo, we may as well follow up on it. We know where he's going. We know who he operates with. We may as well follow it through to completion if that's what we're here for.
We've killed 2 out of 3 of his associates. Well, I guess 2 out of 2 of his associates.
Right, I don't think he has any more. He doesn't seem like a very friendly person.
For what it's worth, my lord, pipes in Potter. He is a mind sorcerer. It's quite possible that once he goes to ground, he won't be found again. I don't remember exactly what Potter's accent was, so I'm making things up. Yeah, but basically,
Lord, if he goes to ground again.
but if he goes to ground again, yeah, yeah. So that is one thing. He's gonna pipe in and say,
counter to that is that he's got about a week on us already, because he went to Bruges if he's alive, he went to Bruges from the river, whereas we took a 2-day trek out here, spent a day to get to these people, and then we have to spend 2 more days to get back up there. Well, no, yeah, that's about 2, a little more than 2. So he's got a week on us already. He's already to ground.
He's to ground and bruises, and we roll in and have them confiscate his lands, then he'll have to run again, and we can be once again on this trail.
Assuming that he uses his real name while he's there. Also, again, Bruges is a place only one of us knows anything about.
That's true. That's true. On the other hand, well, not on the other hand, I'm just going to point out that, yes, Fair Marouge is quite a long way away. So you guys could get there, and you can get back. At that point, you're probably looking at like a month or... maybe not a month of travel, might be exaggerating, but quite at least a week or two of travel. So it is something that, I guess the point I'm raising is that
it's about 8 days away.
There you go.
That's only like 30 feet.
That's the wrong
Course
one, Griff. You're looking at the one above Eluge is where we're at.
That is right, and that's my fault for not moving the token correctly. So you guys are actually...
Oh, I didn't even realize that was a token. I thought it was just one of those city markers. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. And I forget myself.
But yeah, no,
yes,
it's about 8 squares, which is about a day's travel, I believe, is what we said before. So
yeah, or 25 feet. But yeah, so you guys, you are closer to the Doloro. Although, actually, to be fair, you guys are not that much closer, all things considered. Not as much as if you were still in Tuskdun in Lyreford. In that case, it would be like just right down the river, just downstream.
Right, so it's basically been 3 days since the encounter in Tuskford, and to head to Bruges would be another 2 days at least. So, I mean, just under a week. He's had to settle himself in whatever he's doing. That's just my argument for he's already gone to ground.
Yes, it's just we don't want him to have much more time to hide than he already had. Because the more time he has, once he realizes he's safe, the more time he has, the worse it'll be for us.
Then, Connor, we follow your lead.
Aye, says your pack of irregulars. We do, though I confess I wouldn't mind seeing the hometown again, says Louis, who before this had been on an extended voyage, ranging in the wilderness of, I don't know, somewhere.
I want to point out, Red just signed his death warrant.
Did
As
I?
soon as I get home, I'm gonna marry that girl.
He's only 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
Sir.
Yep. Just got a letter. My son was born. I want to go see his face. Yep. It's all over.
I'd like to see home one last time before I die.
Just to keep Louis alive a little bit longer, I'd say we should try to look for Rodolfo here. And Connor would say that in character.
Alright, looks around. He's not here.
Okay. Well, I think... Alright, so... Well, I can't decide for you guys. What are we doing?
Well, it seems like we're going to Bruges. That's what... Seems to me that's what the consensus is. I'm the only one saying the other way.
Okay, to Bruges.
How close is Bruges to the Mad Witch?
Mad Witch is up here. Mad
So 4
Witch. Are you
days,
talking
right?
about the Wine Witch?
Yeah, she owes us money. Or some kind of boon.
Oh, she's 4 days out of Bruges.
It's...
Ah.
yeah.
I'm let's stick to the mission.
About
It's
3.5
out of our
days away from
way,
us.
and I'm sure whatever reward she's going to give us is not worth the side trip.
I mean, it might be worthwhile to find out if that militia is still camped out there.
No, it's not our jurisdiction. We're Connor's Averdepau.
He's not our jurisdiction. He's a noble of the Averdepau.
Right, we're in Doloro domain.
No, we're not. We're in
not yet.
Averdepau domain.
Bruges.
We're
is
not
Doloro
in.
domain.
We're not in Bruges.
We're still heading there. I mean, we'll get
This
there. But
this little item token thing here is where we're at on the map. So we're close to
Map marker.
Luge, right beneath Hanet.
We'll get there.
I'm just saying, it might be worthwhile to know if the militia's on the march again, attacking our territory. I can see where Anonymous doesn't care about that since he's not from here, but
Well, I mean, I care, but we are still only less than 10 people.
pointedly killed me. I mean, yeah, you killed me! I don't know what the hell's going on with my brain today. Pointedly
I
paid
died today.
pointedly paid me to assault people who were defending the Abattoir domains against the Dollaro. So,
They were attacking a sacred grove.
yes, of a people that are attacking a town of the Abattoir.
I don't need to discuss spiritual matters with a mercenary.
Oh,
It's not a spiritual matter, it's a military matter.
You'll find they often intertwine.
Well, then they're worth discussing, then, aren't they?
Takes another drink.
Where'd you get that drink? We're in the middle of a army barracks. Can't be
I always
very
keep a
good.
supply.
and no, this is. Oh, I guess you're in the barracks in the town. The town is it's a nice town. This is the town that's known for raising genets.
The argument
so
you're
I think
making
that-
now is that they're also known for drinking on duty.
Sure. I mean the in the barracks, no, but
Like I said, I
Anonymous can
always
have
carry
his
my
own.
own supply.
Yeah, he's got his hip flask. Doing the Friar Tuck thing.
What, don't you want to drink?
No, I don't drink.
Alright, more for me.
Well, it's your supply. Yes, it's all for you.
Exactly. I'll drink to that.
Potter will be like, I could go for a drink, my lord.
Oh, there you go. Drink
All
up.
right.
That's Crystal
Yeah.
Ask now.
Yep. Potter is he scrunches up his face, but he says, "Oh, top shelf, sir," as he hands it back to you.
Ah, yes, it does sting a little on the way down, doesn't it? 90% ethanol will do that.
Woof. Woof. Make you see the light of Salumer. This will.
You guarantee you won't see anything else.
What religion is the doctor all about now?
Orcomancy.
Okay, so you are one of the heterodoxies then.
Yep,
Yeah, it's like
that's right.
took one long look at religion and said, this should just be easier.
Well, I just didn't know if he was Luterist or not. That's why I was asking. But he's not. Well, technically, he's... I don't know. I guess he's 50-50. No, you're not. That's right. Orcomancy. I forgot for a second. Well, I forgot what the name of the one
Still,
that was part one, part the other.
So, I guess we're on our way to Bruges then, huh?
All right. To Bruges or Bruges or however we're going to pronounce it.
Burger. We're going to Burger.
We're calling it Burger. Leaving from Eggtown, going to Burger. All right. You guys, let's say that the Doctor Anonymous, you feel pangs of nostalgia as the Lyore River comes into view. And you have to travel a little bit north to get to the ferry that will cross over to get you there, or to find a ship that is docked to take you down into the town. But as you are approaching sort of the Lyore Riverbank region, you come across what appears to be a unit of Doloro Boar, clad in the sort of somewhat ragtag armaments of that are typical of the Doloro militia. they're respectable, but when compared to the gleaming plate of the Avoirdupois forces, they always seem a little bit lacking. But what these boar lack in maybe armaments, they make up for with their impressive builds and generally imposing demeanors. You can see that they carry their weapons of choice appear to be hand axes that they have slung on their belts. And as you approach, it seems that they have created a bit of a checkpoint along the road down to the river. And they seem almost like they're expecting you, or expecting travelers at the very least, as you approach. How do you want to handle the situation? It seems that they're blocking your progress forward if you want to continue using the road.
I'll greet them openly. I mean, that they look like they're expecting somebody, and we have a letter of introduction.
Are you in noble colors, tabard and such?
I'd say yes. If you're not hiding,
Yeah, I think everyone has ditched the disguises a bit ago.
Wait, to be fair, the disguises went from place you put the disguises on to the front gate of that one place, and that was it.
Though, to be fair, it's never too late for all of you to see the light of Salumer, put on my priest robes here, and we could just all go together.
So you're saying that the disguise you want to take is to be of the Salumer in the Ludarist territory. Ludarist
Well,
capital,
I'm saying,
no less.
it would be nice if you happen to put on the robes and join me in worship and other things. It would be nice.
Seems like it would be a better disguise if you put on some sort of a Ludarist disguise.
You might be right. But where are we going to find that out here?
I know this grove full of people that no longer need their clothes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Maybe desecrating the dead wasn't a great idea. Let's, Sir Connor, you're approaching, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So you got your letter. Let's see it happen.
All right. Okay, Connor. As you approach, one of the boar will step up and raise a hand and say, halt there. State your business. You're in Doloro land now. If you haven't heard, we're at war. I, again, assume Connor's looking like Connor does with his noble noble clothing, of Avoirdupois armor. And they don't seem like they take too kindly to his type of folk here.
And so, pause to take the letter out of where it's been stored and approach with open arms. I do it with both, but I have to have one holding a button. And you would say, I am Connor Levere de Ecrevis, vassal under the lords in Chalon-sur-Saldre. We come seeking a criminal of war whose actions may have fomented this very war that you speak of, and that which we now toil under. If you would, we could capture this man, bring him to both your authority and then to ours, and we could all learn the truth of this skullduggery.
All right. That is very well spoken. And as you approach, he will sort of snap the letter out of your hands and begin glancing over it. You're not sure he can read, actually, in the way that he looks at the letter. You're sure that he would be able to make out the stamp, the crest of the Lycée Montu at the very least. But you'll notice that he seems like on the verge of rage. Everything about his demeanor is brusque and aggressive. You can see that these other boar too, just their body language. They have their arms crossed, their hands on the hilts of these hand axes. And for anyone who with a natural smell or listen sense, give me mind and observation.
Hey, I have both of those.
And we'll consider this to be grasslands, so if you have plains for this check, you could include your species die as well.
I've got all of those, and this was mind observation.
I'm just really
Correct.
observant.
You're just very observant, regardless of the terrain. Okay. All right, I think it looks like everyone got at least one success there. So Connor and the doctor, you can both hear the sounds of rustling from around from behind some of the foliage nearby. And Anushka, you are keenly aware that there is a much larger number of these guys here than you initially thought. There's 6 of them in the road, but you can tell that they have reinforcements, and these reinforcements seem to be hiding. You know not why, but you do know that you are well outnumbered, even with your Ferme Rouge reinforcements here, or Ferme Rouge backup. The boar, after a moment, he knows better than to crumple an official writ, but it looks like he definitely kind of wants to. And he sort of throws it back, shoves it back in your face. And he says, I can't say that I have, I don't know where you got this, but who's to say it isn't a forgery? If you haven't heard, the Avoirdupois have been attacking sacred sites. They've declared war on us, and I have no interest in letting of war vassals through here to the river. This is Doloro territory. If you don't want to fight, consider you turn around now. That's the thing. You're not sure they can read. Once again, you only saw this one guy glance at the writ, and didn't seem like he was didn't seem like he was spending a lot of time. There's probably a lot of writing, probably a lot of formal legalese going on these things, I would have to imagine. And
yeah,
I just imagine he looks at it and realizes, I don't know how to read. This could
Yep,
say
yeah.
anything. How do I know this is real?
I'm just on my home turf and outnumber you guys, so go turn around. But he doesn't want to say he outnumbers us because he doesn't want to say there's a bunch of guys hiding in the woods. Yeah, I'll have my escape route picked out.
So do I. Forward and through.
Yep, and Anushka's is up and away.
I'm just a humble priest who doesn't fight.
Out of character, was Connor given the situation where one of the Doloro's own were attacking that grove?
Well, yeah, it's a little bit confusing, right? So, currently, I'll fast track it for you. You guys are pretty sure that the large horse Hugo the Great is the one who was behind the attacks. Now, Hugo is of Avoirdupois, but he says that he's ex-Avoirdupois. He used to be in the Avoirdupois military, and now he's sort of living the simple life in the woods with his friend, the Doloro shrew woman, Nell. Unfortunately, Nell was slain recently by our dear Harmon here, the doctor.
Look, I'm just a sword.
You're just a tool.
I'm just a sword. The doctor swung that sword.
Yeah. So
confessing to crimes like being on their sacred grove might not be in our favor.
Not a crime if you're at war.
I mean, war crime.
It's not a war crime. They assaulted a town. He assaulted a sacred grove. It's literally on the same par. There was a church in that town.
Boy, okay, so that tact seems to be escalation.
Yeah, it seems like I'm all about that.
Yeah, so Harmer doesn't sound like he wants to back down. But yes, for your edification there, Connor, situation seems to be complicated because Nell also seemed to have mind control powers. So, technically, no, an Avoirdupois agent was not attacking the Sacred Grove. But the optics on it, it very much looks like they were.
Remember, Nell starts with an N. That letter had N as one of the letter abbreviations of name. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me slip back into character here. Now, if we could get somebody who could actually read this missive, I would be glad to stay out here until they are brought over. But let it be known, good guardman, that our quarry is a fomenter of war that uses the cognoscenti arts to entrap and enslave people's minds. It may have been his doing that your sacred groves were destroyed, and it was his doing that our towns and signal towers were destroyed. So capturing this man is to be a boon for both your people and mine.
All right. This is going to be a roll once again. And again, from the look of these guys, they really want to fight. So it's going to require multiple successes. And anyone, you're all in this scenario. You're all kind of like reading the room. If anyone else would like to try to assist in some way, I am open to your suggestions.
Okay.
I will wait until I see any assists.
Mind of D4, not happening.
Yeah. I mean, I could attempt to roll my bind and negotiation to try to assist if you like. And I could just step up and say, he is right. It is for the betterment of all. To what end does war benefit anyone? And if you can aid us in our quest to put an end to it before it escalates much further, then all the better for all people.
As a holy man.
You'll one success, so assist. Get your D8.
All right.
And I'm dealing with women, so I can't re-roll that one.
Unfortunately, they're...
The meta in
This
me wants to just roll my mind because it's a 25% chance to just get a 1. Just flat out screw everything up.
I was going to throw in my personality on this. I don't think they would heed to my nobility at all.
They have stated that they're not going to be pushed around by no highfalutin avoirdupois. I don't know why I'm going like very, very rural today.
Well, I
with
mean,
the,
that and
phrasing.
also they're not reading a writ from none of their own nobility. Seems like they're not going to respect foreign nobility.
Yep. It also looks like they're just fixing for a fight as well. So negotiation might not be the tact, but it's what we got, right? So, okay. So, are you going to use your personality?
Yes.
You've got one success so far.
It's one that remains.
Oh, all right. Okay, well, so you state your case. You try to be reasonable with these boar. However, they just don't. They're just not having it. This guy says, "Enough talk." He throws the writ into the onto the ground. He says, "I gave you your chance, but any avoirdupois on our land is an act of war." And he goes for his hand axe and boop doo.
An act of war. You've already declared war.
Haha. All right, these guys actually.
Sorry, whenever somebody says haha, I'll just immediately think you're doing a Will Smith impression.
Ha ha. All right. So yeah, I have the grid up just so that everyone can drag out their tokens at the appropriate size, and then I'm going to drop it. In a moment. There we go. Grid off save settings. Cool.
Connor, get on the road. Don't walk in the grass. You're a noble.
So I guess, Connor, you did in fact give him something, so you're up there. I guess I'm not far behind. This talking.
Yeah. And so those of you who made your checks are aware that there's dudes here, There's dudes to the north of you, to the south of you on these rises. There's also dudes north of the rest of the line up here on this rise, but you don't have a visual confirmation of them just yet. And once again, these guys are prepared to throw down, so they're going to take the ready action, but y'all can roll for initiative.
Pretty
Hey,
sure
the
that's
donkey's doing
focus.
pretty good.
And you're pretty much right there, so.
Oh, is this
Gonna be
map
a
have one of
DC2.
the things on it to show us what the icons mean?
Right, let me grab that quick. Good looking out.
It's not your day today, Arcloid.
Well, I am close to this guy, so that means my initiative difficulty is lower.
Well, I mean, still,
Yeah.
it's a 1 and a 2, man. You had to pull out some real legalese to make this work.
Ooh, no. I don't think a 2. You wanted to clear a 2, so, yep, so you are not, I mean, you didn't botch, right? So you're not reeling, although you came
Right.
pretty close to it. So I think you were assuming that these people were going to be reasonable and rational, and that they would not disregard a writ from someone of their own nation. But apparently these are not the people that you're dealing with, and you're caught quite unawares as this guy throws this paper onto the ground, and suddenly you have an axe basically headed towards you. And let's see how that goes. He's going to take a swing, and I'm going to pull up my stat block. Where are we at here? Boom. Okay. Yep. And he's going to aim, and he's going to try to strike you with this hatchet. And he is a veteran. It's going to be a D6, a D8, and a D12. Here we go.
Unless someone wants to rally me so I can...
Ugh.
Anybody with true leader here?
Nope, no true leader. I could interrupt and give you flesh ward now before the result comes in, on the presumption that you are probably going to get injured. So I'm going to go ahead and tap that and do that right now. Go ahead and roll me your will. All right, congratulations. You have 3 points of flesh ward right now.
And to
So,
remind, flesh ward is applied after you soak, right?
Correct. So he will soak first, and then dig into flesh ward, and then finally take damage.
Heart with the 3 under it is my flesh ward.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right,
Dodge.
sounds good.
Okay. Is that all your dodge? A 5?
No, that was
That's your will. That's
That
your
was
will.
the
I'm
will.
sorry.
That was to give him flesh ward.
I am
This is the
distracted.
dodge.
Yeah. All right. You dodge it. You step back as the swipe comes. It looks like it was designed to take your muzzle off, but apparently, just a little bit too slow. And I am trying to look up the charging strike rules. I believe you're just rolling your sprint, and it does not count as a.
You roll your sprint and then you attack.
Yeah. And it's a single action, right? So it's like a move and attack together.
It's basically a move and attack together. It's the opposite of spring attack, which is an attack and then a move.
Is it kosher to retrain gifts in the middle of combat to buy a new gift? Raffy laughing.
I mean, I appreciate the hustle, but I'm gonna say no, not in the middle of combat.
Right on.
Quick, I need armored fighter. Sell everything. Sell it all.
Sell everything. I need that combat safe back stat. That would be good. Let's see here.
I changed my mind. I want to live.
I want to live. Take back my resolve. Let's see what their sprint is. Is it D6? Is it even possible for them to get? It is possible for them to close the distance. So we're gonna do that. These guys who are behind are basically going to grab these.
You know what? Before you guys move, I want to break my focus.
Oh, okay.
To sprint.
All right.
Harm's way.
Yeah, Harmon.
Oh, God damn it.
You don't have to come to me. I will come to you.
I just want to change the layout of the battlefield, so you have to make up your mind about your decisions now.
No, that's good. That's really good, actually. These guys just want to mix it up. They want to get into the fight. So, and they're going to, yeah. So we're going to start north to south with these dudes. Each of them is rolling a d6 for their sprint. 2, not great, but enough to get him close to you. Next dude up, d6, a 4. That'll definitely get him 4 to 3.